Good morning. It's Pastor Mark McDonald with you again as we join from First United Methodist Church of Batesville to follow Experiencing God, Knowing and Doing the Will of God. This is our daily devotional study, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. We are gathering together for a brief summary that I have here, around 3 to 5 minutes, give or take, and then invite you to spend 20 to 30 minutes a day using the workbook that is provided, that you can purchase, called Experiencing God, Knowing and Doing the Will of God by Henry Blackaby. This week has been an exciting week. It's renewed my spirit to remember these steps. Now, everything in here is not some absolute. This is not some cookie cutter model that if you follow these steps, everything works out perfectly in your life. And today's a little bit of a reminder of that. This week, our theme has been looking to God. And today in particular, our workbook lesson focuses on that God has a purpose in mind when God calls to you. So as we've worked through this week about becoming more God-centered, having some prayer, focusing on when we start to see where God is working, not jumping into that, but waiting for an invitation and becoming more personal, more in a relationship, and seeking the four or more areas that God speaks to us today. All of those things come together, and we realize that sometimes it's hard to wait. And sometimes when we think it's time to going, we have to fight against that self-centered urge to do what we think is right and stay focused on what God is right. I think one of my favorite ways of thinking about this is football. You know, I grew up around Razorback football. A lot of people around here did too, or Red Wolves football. I mean, it's interesting to me that in football fans, there are two different types. We'll talk about that in a second, but you can see it when the weather's good. I mean, when it's a beautiful day and you want to go to a football game and eat and drink and watch the game, you're having a blast. Or if you go over to somebody's house and do it, it doesn't matter what else is going on. It becomes a priority. You set everything else aside for that. Now, there are some what we call fair weather fans that, you know, if the weather's not good or whatever reason, they'll kind of push it off. You can always watch replays later, catch up, but it's not the most important thing. Those fair weather friends, you know, that's you don't want to be those fair weather fans. There are the ones that no matter what the weather's like, you see them in the stands, face painted or whatever, bundled up with umbrellas and things all over to keep the rain off. They'll walk a mile. I remember going to Razorback Stadium, and it was unusual if you could park within, you know, a quarter of a mile of the stadium, unless you spent a lot of money for those tickets, and a lot of people do. But those are the differences. You have the fair weather fans, and then you have the faithful fans. Well, I'm going to challenge you today that our lesson today is reminding us of that when things aren't going the way we want them to, they're not happening as fast as we want them to, when the season's not going as well as we want it to, or our team isn't winning like we think they ought to, that it's easy to be an armchair quarterback or even just walk away from our fan attitude and just wait until it's better. But the challenge of being faithful is being steadfast and knowing that there is a purpose in mind. Now, in football, that purpose is we're waiting for the winning season. We're waiting for the excitement when it's time, when it all comes together. Spiritually, it's not that different, but we're waiting for God's timing, not ours. Not for us to get everything right, not for us to have everything in order, for us to be faithful to God, to the church, to our family, or anything, to put God back in place, but for God to invite us. This week, as we are looking to God, we learn that we don't just see where God is and run out to join God. We wait for an invitation, a very specific one, very real and very personal. So today, as you work through this workbook, remember that. Remember that we are called to be faithful followers of Jesus Christ. And sometimes that's hard to do, but we remember that God calls us with purpose. Now, tomorrow, as you continue in the weekend, I invite you to go back over each day, practice our memory verse, and read through the summaries of each day. Walk through the steps, day 1 through day 5, and remember what this is. Know that this is not a perfect example of if you do this, everything works, but know that it is a model that will excite you and keep you moving, and you can return to this workbook over and over and over again. So I hope this week has been helpful. I look forward to next week, and I look forward to seeing you on church Sunday morning, 9 a.m., 11 a.m. 9 a.m. is our contemporary service, 11 is our traditional service. It's on Facebook and YouTube, and of course on 103.3 FM in Batesville. We have it broadcast at 11 a.m. You can listen to that if you're nearby. You can also find that online through their radio station. I hope you'll join us in that. Again, let me know if I can be your pastor, how I can be there for you. I hope that you have a blessed day and weekend, and that you are indeed a blessing.